All right, everybody, welcome into the high noon edition of Pugs Moran Live. Every day, Monday through Friday, noon till, whenever we get done. Sometimes that's 2, sometimes that's a little bit after 2. It all does depend on what's happening in the world. I was a bit of a minute late here today. I apologize. I wanted to see the top of the hour breaking news, just to see if anything new had come up. We are listening to the sounds of a bombardment outside the Ukrainian city of Donetsk. There's a new way that I think I'm going to do the show. At least it may be the best way to do the show. Oh, sorry. Hold on, let me turn that off. There we go. Just wanted to mute that a little bit. You know what else? I should probably... Let me do the... turn on the integrated chat. It is turned on. It is. See, when you say things like that and then you show up in the integrated chat column, I wonder, turn on the integrated chat. You're Jeff Glenn from Facebook is there, and Jeff Glenn from Hi, Leslie is here. What are you talking? The integrated chat is turned on. Oh, God. Jeff, is it up to your specifications now? Since I see you on 2 separate platforms, interacting as Jefferson Glenn Wright the third or the fourth, and then Jeff Glenn on YouTube. Hi, everybody. All right, I see everybody that's showing up now. I hate it. I hate you guys. You guys can get inside my head so easily, so effortlessly. Okay, so this is the first. Yes, thank you. I didn't do anything. Jeff was like, yes, thank you. Like I did something. I didn't do anything. It was integrated from the beginning. Okay, thank you, Jeff. I'm glad. Because I do, on the one hand, I rely on you guys to tell me, whether or not everything's copacetic. And then when you say things like that, I think, oh my God, did I do something wrong? And I don't think I did anything wrong. All right, welcome to the High Noon Show. This is the first of 2 streams that we do each and every day here. The High Noon Show is all about topics, headlines, things people are talking about, current events, anything that's important that's popping off in the world on this day. We try and get it to you. Nice little cheat sheet for you, so you know roughly the things that are going on in the world. At least the things that I deem necessary. Yes, I am overdressed. I am cold. It is cold here in North Texas. Hi, Steve. Hi, Byron. Hi, everybody. How is the plane watching? Oh, you'll see. The plane watching is just, woo, as my son might say, the plane watching is bussin' this morning. I don't know what that means, but bussin' is apparently a word that can be applied to almost anything, unless it's negative. It seems like bussin' is always something good. Hey, how's your dinner? It's bussin', yo. You're an Irish German kid from Plano. Maybe you should say, you're a Texan. What is bussin', yo? You're not from Brooklyn. Okay, I don't know why you weren't raised in a housing project in Bed-Stuy. What is bussin', yo? If you enjoy your dinner, you should say, I don't know, what would someone in Texan say? Delicious, appreciate you, something like that. That's what a German Irish kid from Plano should describe. Not bussin', yo. Okay. Oh, we got April. Oh, look at April's here. That's nice. It's nice to see April. April is enjoying a Mexican vacation, a much-deserved Mexican. April, I hope that you are taking note of what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a sweater, like a mock hooded sweater. Well, I guess it's not a mock, but sweater and a thin sort of spring or fall coat. Because guess who forgot to turn their heat on? Me. So I may strip down incrementally as the heat begins to fill this place with the beauty of the Lord's warmth. Second stream that we do is the Pillow Talk stream. That's Pugs and Parker. That's me and James Parker. That's a bit more conversational. As I say this, I like to think of it as a utilitarian offering, something that you can use. These are all the topics that are happening today, and we run through them one by one. I am going to begin doing things a bit differently as far as the rundown of the show goes. Traditionally, I begin with all the day's events and then the birthdays and all those kinds of things, and then we meander into the day's topics. I don't think we're going to do that anymore. I think we're gonna save that stuff for the back end. I think we're going to save the birthdays and what the point of today's day is and history and all that kind of stuff. We're going to move that to the back end. As I sit and hate watch myself, I always think, well, how can you present yourself as a current event show when really all you're talking about is things that happened on this day in 1927 for the first half hour? And, I was arguing with myself a bit, and I was right. No, Byron Granger, you're saying it wrong. It's not busting. It is not busting. You're not ghost busting. You would be bussing. I don't know. Okay. Yes, I have permanent sound effects now coming in from Denesk. This is a feed from earlier today. This is just someone stuck a microphone out their window and just started playing the sounds of war. So, there is that. All right, let's get started then. We're going to start out, at least until, things tend to settle down. The first segment of the show is going to be Ukraine, because that is the major breaking news around the globe. A lot of stuff is happening today, every day before we sign on. And I think it's probably because what we're getting is all of the day's news from that part of the world. They're 8 hours ahead of us. So at noon here, it's 8 o'clock there. So there's all kinds of information that begins to trickle in and pop off and, is available for us here. When we do the Pillow Talk show, it's like the middle of the night there. So it's a little bit quieter, unless that's when, the major thrust of the invasion kicks off. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not a military historian. I'm not a war strategist. I don't know how these things happen, but I can tell you that the big news today, as of noon here, Central Standard Time, multiple media outlets. I'm not going to say lamestream media. I'm not going to say mainstream media, because what do you want? Do you want me to report what some dude on YouTube is saying? I can't do that. I know that some of you are like, I don't believe anything that the media said. Man, shut up. I'm just going to listen to the people who actually are paying people a paycheck to be over in that part of the world. But they're lying. I don't know that. Maybe you're lying. I have no idea. I can only go. I know that a person who is standing in the Donbas with a camera and a microphone can probably more accurately tell me what's happening there than some guy like myself who's on YouTube just reading, the rantings of Alex Jones or whomever. So please forgive me. But yes, multiple Western media outlets are reporting at this hour that United States and UK intelligence are imploring the Ukraine government to immediately take some form of defensive action. The Ukrainian military has been laying back. They've basically been like, Why are they saying this? Because according to the latest intelligence from both the United States and UK, the Russian troops are believed to be 80% in forward position, which means 80% of their army is ready to go. They're about to. This news is different because for the last couple of days we have been focused on the Donbas region, which is a sliver of eastern Ukraine close to Crimea, which is currently occupied and been absorbed into Russia by Putin. That happened in 2014. There was no fight put up for Crimea, nothing to speak of, nothing organized, nothing as far as the full force of the Ukrainian military. And honestly, back then, the Ukrainian military wasn't really all that much to speak of, because the president at the time was a puppet of the Kremlin. And when the Kremlin wanted to take Crimea, the president was like, okay, what are we going to do about it? And they gave it up without a fight. Why was that important? Well, Russia wanted Crimea because Crimea is an incredibly strategic point located there on the Black Sea. It is now home to the Russian Navy's Black Sea Fleet. It is their largest naval base, and if there was to be any kind of aggression against the rest of Europe, most of the Navy operations would occur from that place in Sevastopol, Crimea. The Ukrainian people at the time didn't want to give it up because, for every reason I just said, it is a major strategic point, and whoever possesses that chunk of land has an advantage when it comes to controlling the shipping, the movements, all of that across the Black Sea, which connects that part of the world to another part of the world. Just look at a map. I'll pull it up. So that happened in 2014, and there wasn't much resistance because the president at the time of Ukraine was taking his marching orders from Kremlin. And in 2019, that changed. Volodymyr Zelensky, the former TV actor and comedian, was elected president. He was elected on a pro-Ukrainian democracy ticket. He was the people overwhelmingly elected him. It wasn't even close. The Putin-backed candidate was trumped and actually had to run off and now lives in exile in Russia. What a surprise. He's claimed the whole time that he wasn't a Russian agent, but he doesn't live in Ukraine anymore. He's now living somewhere in exile in Russia. So Zelensky has spent the last 8 years essentially making nice with the Western world, trying to distance, the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian way of life from the former Soviet allegiances. They want to be a part of NATO. They want to join the European Union. They want to do all of these things, and Putin doesn't like it. So there you go. That's the backstory. For the last few days, Putin, when he gave his big speech, he was focused almost exclusively on the Donbas region, which is the region that bumpers up next to Crimea, which he now possesses. He wants the cities of Donetsk, he wants the cities of Luhansk, and he wants the cities of Mariupol, which are major cities in eastern Ukraine. So that's what he told the world he was going after. But apparently now, based on these latest reports from U.S. and U.K. intelligence, no, he's looking at Kiev. He's looking at the power base of the whole of Ukraine. Not just that, and he's got troops on the border, not very far at all. He could move into Ukraine, or he could move into Kiev from the Belarus and the Russian border fairly easily, and he's got at least 100,000 of the 200,000 troops in that area, which at the time that he was talking about the Donbas, the rest of the world looking at this was saying, okay, well then what's with the other 100,000 troops that you have? If you're only focusing on this area, it'd be like if Canada was invading America and they amassed their troops along the entire Canadian border with America, and they said, we only want Maine. Wouldn't you be like, well, then why do you have all these troops in front of Minnesota? Be like, well, then why, if you really only want Maine, why aren't you guys over there? Why are you? So according to latest U.S. and U.K. intelligence reports, a full-on invasion of the Ukraine is imminent, 48 hours. This is based on most recent surveillance and satellite observations by us, the United States, and the Ukraine. In response to this, the Ukrainian President Zelensky has declared a state of emergency, which begins at midnight their time, which is 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, our time. So a state of emergency. He has called up all reserve troops. The Ukraine seems now to be mobilizing their defense systems because at this point they believe that Kiev is a legitimate threat. When it was just Donetsk, it was like, okay, I don't know if everybody's going to back us now. But now that Kiev seems to be in play, at least according to U.S. and U.K. intelligence, and you could say, well, I don't believe them. What the fuck do you believe? I mean, if you're an American citizen, you live in America, and you totally don't believe our intelligence apparatus, then I don't know what to tell you. What are you believing? Well, where do you think the information is coming from? Where are you getting your information? So, take that for what it is. I have no idea. The state of emergency is going to go into effect at 4 o'clock today throughout the entirety of Ukraine. That is going to be a 30-day state of emergency. Now, state of emergency is different. I learned about this morning. The next step would be martial law. Martial law would give President Zelensky complete authority over all military and the decisions. Essentially, it would martial law is something that he doesn't want to deal with, because at this point, with a state of emergency, he has given himself certain wartime powers. However, he is still beholden to a parliament. A parliament still has to, and it seems by all information that the Ukrainian parliament is completely behind Zelensky. So he doesn't seem to have any need to declare straight out martial law. There's a lot of scary things that go with declaring martial law. However, if your nation's being attacked, you might just want one guy having decisions. And how about that one guy be the one that the whole country elected to lead you, right? So I don't know. There are arguments both. What are the fears for Kiev? Well, currently Kiev is experiencing major cyber attacks. These began about 8 a.m. this morning, our time, which would have been what? 4 p.m. their time. So close of business today. The banks, the government systems, cellular service, all of these sorts of things throughout Kiev. And which, again, remember, Kiev wasn't supposed to be on the agenda. That wasn't part of the menu options that Putin was looking over. Yet they have attacked with what is this? I don't know anything about this. A DDoS attack. I don't know what this is. Banks, government agencies, cellular technologies, all of those things. Apparently, the Ukraine is saying that they had planned for this sort of thing, and so they are in the process of fixing it. I don't know. Again, this is a cyber warfare. I know bombs, I know planes, I know troop movements. And honestly, do I even really know that? I don't know. But apparently, the modern way of war has to do with cyber attacks. There is also a fear, as the majority of the world's military experts and generals and all of that have been saying, that the next step that you have to look for is air attacks from Russian military. The Russian military will not move troops in until significant force by air has completed its missions to destroy defense capabilities and bases. They're going to attack the airports where the military planes are. They're going to go in first with planes, and they're going to bomb. Also, this could include shelling, long range shelling, and missile attacks. So that has not happened yet, but according to Newsweek, ABC News, CNN, and multiple other world news organizations, intelligence is dictating that this is going to happen in the next 48 hours. They expect these things. If they don't, hey, God bless. Good. Because this is all bad stuff. This is the stuff. I mean, to this point, the Western world, and when I say Western world, I mean the allies of the United States. To this point, our allies have been, clutching their pearls and wringing their hands over the idea of cutting off and siphoning off the eastern Ukraine area, the Donbas. However, that has not motivated any of the allies to really start saber rattling to any extent. Kiev is a different matter. Kiev, it's almost like they can justify that area of the Donbas falling and saying, well, okay, we don't need to start World War III over just a sliver of land. However, if it does become a situation where the entirety of the Ukraine is now, and especially Kiev, which is the seat of their power, then we got it. Then there's an issue. That's when people are going to get involved. By people, I mean the rest of the world. What else do we have? Okay, so let's look at the flight tracker today. Let's see what's happening now, because it has been crazy for the last couple of hours. There is more action happening on the flight tracker than we have seen since we started monitoring all of the flights. Flight Tracker is it's a Swedish company that has just incredible flight data. It shows you all the planes around the world with their transponders and what's happening. Okay, so now here we go. Let's move up into the Ukraine. This is, wait, I'm not sharing. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sharing. Okay. So here you go. This area right here. This is the Ukraine. Let's see. This is the area that is being slivered off. So all of this. So you have the cities of Donetsk. You have Mariupol. Where is it? Somewhere down here. Oh, there it is. Mariupol, right there, Donetsk and Luhansk. Okay. So this is the big chunk that Putin went out and said that this is what he wants. All right. So obviously, the C of A is off. This is a no-fly zone. The Russian military has declared this a no-fly zone. No planes of any kind, of any origin, are allowed to fly over here. The Russian Navy's Black Sea Fleet has established this as a perimeter. It is off the coast of the Donbas area. So, that's they want to control the coastline. So nobody's flying over here. You can see all of these planes. These are all commercial air travel. They're doing their best to go around this entire area. Okay, so let's see what we're looking at here. Air travel over most of Ukraine. Look at this, very limited. There's not a whole lot going on here. So let's see. I mean, here, I'll pull out and I'll show you the rest of the world. I mean, you can see, look at the rest of Europe. This is all. So you can see this area in here, the Ukraine, pretty quiet. There's not a whole lot going on. All right, let's check in now on what flights are of most interest. Okay, so the most watched plane in the area at the moment is Fort 11. Now, Fort 11 is a United States Air Force plane. Okay, it's not a plane. This is a drone. This isn't like one of them drones that you play with in your backyard. This is one of those drones that's the size of a school bus. You know what I mean? The big giant ones, remotely piloted. So let's check out what Ford is doing. All right, so this is United States reconnaissance plane. This is this drone is flying over. It's checking out. It seems to be close to the border, probably looking in on Russian troops, seeing any movement, all of that kind of thing. Here's the other interesting thing, though, about what Fort is doing. Now, remember, earlier today, there was concern. Fort had been flying for a couple of days. Fort 11 had been up in the air for the last couple of days, but it had been concentrating almost exclusively on this area. Now, today, with the latest intelligence saying that there is now real concerns for Kiev and the surrounding areas, you can see he's flying. He seems to be close to this area of the border. It hadn't really spent much time there. And it's now doing significant concentration on Belarus, which is where a lot of the Russian military and the Belarusian military, I don't even know if that's how you say it, Belarusian, I don't know. The Belarusian military have been doing maneuvers and practicing for a couple of months. So there is significant Russian military buildup here as well as Belarusian military. So Fort is doing this. This is the drone, just flying around. Let's see where Fort came from. Fort. Okay, so see this? How it just begins in the middle of the ocean? That's where it turned on its transponder. So apparently it doesn't want people to know where it came from exactly. So turned on its transponder, and now it's transponding, and it is showing, all of us, hey, this is what we're doing. We're not hiding. We're showing you. We're up here. Look at us. Dare you to shoot us down. International incident coming your way if you shoot us down. So that's what Ford is doing. Okay, so that's the United States Air Force military drone. This is Jake 2. This is the second most watched plane right now. Jake 2 is the United States Air Force reconnaissance plane. This is, I believe, one of the rivet joints. Yeah, there it is. I'll get you a picture of what Jake 2 looks like. Oh, nope. Can't really do that. Okay. Well, there's a picture right there. Okay, I apologize. There's a picture right there in the corner. All right, so this is a manned United States military reconnaissance plane. It's got all the radars, it's taking all the pictures, taking all the movies. It's showing us exactly what is happening on the ground. Jake came from right here, looks like outside Rostock, Germany, which is, a big American military base. So Jake has been flew across Poland. It looks like it came down. They see it doesn't want to go into Belarus, doesn't want to violate any kind of airspace of anybody that we're not too happy with. So it's flying along the border. Seems to be going, seems to be looking like flying around the central of Ukraine. Don't know what they're doing. I'm not a military expert, but that's United States Air Force plane is up, as well as Fort, which is the drone. This one is interesting. We saw this one earlier. This is this is the Ukraine National Guard. Okay, where is this? That's just a Ukraine National Guard helicopter. Seems to be stuck right there. There are other planes though. Let's see. Okay, this is a passenger flight that's being watched. That's from Moscow to Sofia, Bulgaria. All right, that's flying right over Ukraine. Essentially, any planes that leave Moscow and fly over Ukraine get flagged, and everybody starts watching them. What's this one? This is this is a little plane. All right, why is this one being watched? I don't know. I'm wondering why this one's being watched. I have no idea. Earlier today, see, right now we've got the U.S. Air Force drone, Fort 11 up, and we've got the U.S. Air Force reconnaissance Boeing Rivet jet up, and that one's watching. Earlier today, we also had a Royal Air Force Rivet joint, which is another reconnaissance plane. The Brits were up at the exact same time as the American reconnaissance, and then we had a third guy up in the air, and it was a Canadian. It was a Canadian Royal Air Force reconnaissance plane. I don't know where they are now. Let's poke around here a little bit and let's see if. All right, what is this guy? Okay, this is the number 7 watched plane. This is a private jet. Left Kiev. See, now this is always interesting. If I can direct your attention over to here, they don't want anybody to know where they're going, and you're supposed to let people know where you're going. So that's probably why it's trending number 7, because people are like, "Well, who's this guy? Does he think he's special?" All right, so that guy's interesting. This is Kiev Airport. So these are basically just gonna assume most of these are commercial airline planes. We look for people flying strange patterns. Okay, this guy. That's Fort. Okay, again, that's our drone. That's up there watching what's happening. Oh, what are these guys? What's this guy? This guy over here in the Black Sea. All right. Well, he took off from Sevastopol. So he's friendly with Russians. Oh yeah, look at it. He's going to St. Petersburg. So that's like a Russian domestic. What's this? Oh, that's Fort 11 again. Okay, so that's basically what we have going on here. Doesn't seem to be. We'll check in from time to time and see if there are any new planes up in the air. Russian Navy planes up until 2 days ago had been flying with their transponders on. Just because we don't see any Russian Navy planes or any Russian military planes showing up on this doesn't mean they're not there. It just means that they're no longer being public about their whereabouts. And that would make sense if you were planning some sort of a military maneuver. What's this guy? That's Fort. I keep getting drunk because this is the guy that's closest to the area. See, there's not going to be anything that appears in this relative area is going to be military, because there's not going to be a situation like we had in July of 2014. Do you remember that? Do you remember when it was in this area when a Malaysian commercial airliner had drifted over into this particular area and was shot down by Putin? Hundreds of innocent people were killed. Just people traveling on vacation. The plane had drifted off course, and the Russian military shot it down. All right, so there we have. Nobody did anything about that either. It was just like, yeah, well, what are you gonna do? That's gonna happen. Let's see what this guy's. Okay, this guy here. Look at this guy. He's number 9. This is Ukraine. Okay, so we've got a Ukrainian Air Force flying out of Poland. Don't know what he's doing. He's got no call sign. No idea what he's doing. No idea why the Ukrainian Air Force is flying over Poland. heading back into Ukraine. What's this guy? Okay, nothing. What's this guy? Aeroflat. What's this guy? Turkish Airlines. What's this guy? Fly Dubai. What's this guy? Okay. All right. So this is the no call sign. That's always of interest to we bird watchers who pay attention to all this stuff. Okay, so before we jump out of this, one more time, let me check in on Jake 12. Let's see what he's doing. Okay, so he's boogieing out. So Jake 12, the United States Air Force reconnaissance plane, has now left Ukrainian airspace and is back into Poland. Don't know where he's coming or where he's going to. What was his origin? Okay, so his place of origin was the one in Germany. So he's probably going back to Germany because no reason for him to be flying reconnaissance over NATO-controlled land because, we get people on the ground there. You don't need a plane. All right, so he looks like he's done. So Jake 12 looks like he's done. We'll X out of this, and we'll come back, and we'll check in a little bit because typically when one plane leaves, then it's time for the next group. Last night I was watching, it was really interesting. There was a United States Air Force refueling plane. The plane that they use, they keep them up in the air as sort of like, a 30,000 foot gas station for fighter jets, typically to come up. And I mean, other planes use it to refuel fuel too. But there was a refueling plane up over on the border of Poland and Ukraine for hours and hours. And it was just doing circles. It was just doing slight little, probably 10-mile circles, staying in one spot. Now, what that means, I mean, they don't just put a refueling plane up for no reason. That means that there were probably fighter jets up, and the fighter jets had their transponders off, so we couldn't see them. But that's always an indication that there is some kind of military thing going on. You don't put a fuel tanker up in the air for no reason and have it doing donuts in the sky for 4 hours. So okay, so there you go. That's about all we got so far. As far as the Ukraine goes, we'll be keeping an eye on that. You know what? I think now we can move on to some normal stuff. So I can kill the cool ass sound effects of the shelling outside of Donetsk. Again, it is now 8:34 in Kiev p.m. I'm now saying things that people expect it to be an eventful evening. So, should anything, although these things typically don't occur until after midnight, which would be after 4 p.m. our time. But it is of some interest now to see as we go into nighttime what kind of air surveillance and what kind of United States and allied forces planes we'll have in the air over Ukraine. And more importantly, what they'll be looking at, because that tells us exactly what our intelligence is figuring out. It's no coincidence that we've had surveillance planes the last day now, not from the beginning. From the beginning, remember, it was pretty much only focused on the Donbas region, which is eastern Ukraine. But now we're seeing all of these surveillance planes and the drones working the borders of northern Ukraine and all the way into Belarus. And then this morning, we have all this breaking news about troop movements in that area. That's why we know that they have troop, because we can actually see the planes watching what's happening and then reporting that information to our intelligence people, and then our intelligence people put it together and they make public whatever they need to make public. All right, so let's get into the things that are trending today other than Ukraine and that whole mess. There is something that is on my mind, and it's front and center. And if I seem a little bit subdued, it's because I've been going back and forth for the last hour on whether I want to really get into it, because it's really troubling and it's so complicated, and it would require, and it has to do with this. This is not, I'm not getting personal with you. I'm not pregnant or anything like that. It has to do with all of this, and it has to do with some attitudes that are being mainstreamed about all of this. And it's just like I said, I don't want to get into it, because in order to really talk about it, then why are you talking about it? Because I told you, it's like all I can think about. It's like the most troubling thing that I'm processing at the moment. And yes, I can talk about Marilyn Manson and Phil Mickelson and Lindsay Lohan and Greg Abbott and all these other stories that are trending today. But am I going to have enthusiasms for them? Because I'm just really upset about the normalizing of the idea that Putin is a good guy. You said it. You went there. It's really troubling. It's really troubling. And it speaks to such a manipulation of people and the things they want to believe. I can't go into it. I can't go. Well, you sure as hell can't go into it with Parker. No, I know I can't, because that would even be more trouble. I'll just leave it at this. Putin is not a good guy. Putin is not our friend. Putin hates us. He still holds us. The greatest tragedy of his life was the implosion of the Soviet Union, losing the Cold War. The Cold War defined this man his entire life growing up. He was in charge of the KGB. His job was to find all of the worst things about America and try and use it against us. That was his job before he rose. This is just troubling. It's just troubling. He's not a good guy. He is on record of absolutely despising us and praying. He doesn't pray. He's an atheist, but just, rooting for decades for the destruction of America. And we are starting to see, for purely politically divisive reasons, a normalization of the idea that Putin is a good guy. And it's just, it's such a manipulation. It is so aimed at people who just want to believe what they want to believe. It's aimed at people who see geopolitical interactions as a sporting event. It's aimed at people who see their party of choice as their favorite football team. And, as someone who's a sports fan, I am not rational when it comes to my sports teams. I am not normal. I don't look at things and process information lucidly and insightfully and thoughtfully. I don't. If it's good for my team, it's good for me, and that's all I think. And I mean, when it comes to the world stage and the way people live and American exceptionalism, there, I said it. We are America. We are exceptional. This is not propaganda. The fact of the matter is that people around the world look to us as being the beacon of freedom. And it has been our stated goal since the end of World War II to spread Americanism and to spread freedom around the world. And we've never had any sort of question about who our primary opponent in the idea of American exceptionalism. It has always been the Soviet Union. It had always been Russia. The reason that the last couple of decades we haven't had to worry so much about Russia is because we kicked their ass in the Cold War. We won years and years of the arms race, years and years of economic domination, years and years of communism destroyed that country. And now it's like you got people who were born in 1990. I'm talking about guys in their 30s, people who have no recollection of the Cold War, who have no true understanding of history, who are looking at the current situation and going, well, the guy I voted for president seems to like him, so I guess I like him. And again, this is not a political show. I don't like to be partisan. I don't like to, I'm completely upfront about my ideologies. I am a center-leaning progressive. I'm not a far left freak, I'm not out there with Antifa thinking that we need to burn down government buildings. And I'm sure as shit not with the other people on the right who also want to burn down government buildings. I always say on this show that we are, at our core, the United States of America is a very What is blue and red? What does that make? What is it? Purple? Well, I don't even know. Yeah, purple. Okay. So we are a purple people for the most part. But because of this process of turning political idealism into a team sport, we've been radicalized on the right and on the left into something that I can't believe that there are people, and I'm seeing it on social media. And I know that social media shouldn't be believed because there are so many Russian bots. They have bot farms. We know about this. They have these warehouses with thousands of people whose job it is, who are paid by the state to pose as American citizens with Facebook pages and American flags and to say things and to kind of try and change the attitudes to play to our worst instincts. As a human being, it is so easy to be a bad person. It is difficult being a good person. It is, and I'm not going to go off on, I don't want to preach here, but it's kind of like what I said a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about bitterness and anger and hatred. Those are right there on the surface, man. Those are the most easily accessible emotions that we as human beings have. It's easy to get to them. It's easy. Anybody who's ever lost their shit when they've walked into a room. I just got rid of my 12-year-old. He was here for 4 days. Yeah, I walk into a room and it's like a tornado hit the room, and the most easily accessible emotional response is, what the fuck happened in this room? It's because it's right there. Because anger and bitterness and resentment and all that stuff is right there. As a human being, that stuff is at the ready anytime we want it. That's why it's difficult to be good. That's why theoretically we have religion. That's why we have these rules. That's why being decent, being kind, being forgiving, being thoughtful, and actually caring about somebody that you don't know, those are harder to mine. Those are difficult to get to. Those are way underneath the bitterness and the anger and the resentment. And there is just this very well coordinated movement that we've seen here in this country over the last 20 years, I'll say. Probably the last 10 for real. I mean, if we're going to really focus on it. But there has been this coordinated assault against our better angels as human beings to give in to whatever it is that is most easily accessible to us emotionally. Give in to your anger, give in to your bitterness, give in to the fact that you hate that guy. And there have been people who are important and influential who have realized that, people actually want to be mean. People actually want to be angry. People enjoy ranting and being pissed. Let's tell them it's okay. Let's tell them, let's qualify all of these good patriotic motives that we pretend and that we put forth with the idea that you have a right to be angry. You have a right to be pissed off. These people are doing this to you. They're taking this from you. That is a very coordinated manipulation of the psyche of the American people that, I mean, a lot of it has come from Russia. A lot of the divisiveness. We all know that we're a divided people. We all know that people, hate someone who is different than them more so than they ever have in the history of this country. And there used to be these unifying moments. And I just don't know how we get to these unifying moments anymore. If not, what's happening in Ukraine to me seems fairly cut and dry. It seems to me that there is a group of people who want to be free. They want to be Americanized. They want to embrace the ways of the Western world. And there is somebody standing above them going, no. You're not going to go over to that side. And we're a superpower. And we spend all of this money on what it takes to be a superpower, to be a global influence, to spread Americanism around the world. And now here we are in a situation where these people are saying, This is what we want. And we have this strong man, this dictator on our border saying, no, you can't have that. Aren't we supposed to support that? Aren't we supposed to support the idea of American exceptionalism around the globe? I don't know. And I'm not, this is not me rattling a saber saying, let's all go to war. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm just saying is be on the side of the Ukrainian people. Be on the side of the people who have tasted what the other flavor is and have said, that tastes like shit. Instead of going to the guy who's making the flavored ice cream that tastes like shit and going, his ice cream ain't that bad. It's really been bothering me today. It's really been bothering me. There are, and again, I don't believe for a minute that these people truly believe what they're saying about Putin. I just believe that it's politically advantageous for them to be able to tap into that narrative. Because remember, there's also been this push of the idea that America sucks. America sucks. America sucks now. We suck. And therefore, anything that America does is now the idea that you can absolutely despise everything that America stands for. Not the things that America does, not that, daily life is going to hell in a handbasket. No, it's now moved into an area where we're talking about what America stands for. And I'm not some crazy, I don't, my social media platforms doesn't have, a big American flag behind it. I don't put patriot in my little byline. That's trying too hard. I'm an American born and raised. I've been here my entire life. I don't have to say that shit. That's supposed to be a given. You're supposed to understand that. But I don't know, somebody with an American flag behind them on their Twitter feed with Patriot First, Christian, all of that stuff. Somebody that's doing that and then saying shit like, Putin could actually be a very good friend of ours. No, he couldn't. Putin's nobody's second. Putin's not a lackey. Putin wants to dominate. He's a strong man. He's a dictator. What are you going to do? Adam Reyna says, what I've been learning from my gynecologist. I like that Adam Reyna is running with the gynecologist joke. Byron tells him that he needs to go to a gynecologist. What I've learned from my gynecologist is that our feelings are valid, but they're not allowed to make them become a problem for others. Jeff says, I feel your pain. I opened the door to my kid's room after he went back. It looked like the inside of a trailer home that had rolled down a mountain. All right. I don't know. You know what? Let's move on. I've gotten it off my chest. I feel better. I feel better now that I said it. If you want to know what I'm referring to, I just, it's not hard to find. There are just, again, I am shocked by the normalization of Vladimir Putin by some incredibly influential people here in America. Television people, politicians, influencers. It's just, and it's not everybody. I mean, it's a very small sliver. It's like if we're talking about, let's say we're talking about 10 people, it's like 2 of the 10 people, but those 2 people are very loud. And the other 8 are just going, wait, what? What did he say? And of course, we're programmed. You're just programmed to hate Putin. No, I was just alive in the 70s and I'm a fan of history, so I kind of understand what this is all about. Unlike you, who was not even born yet when the Cold War ended. Well, it's not the Cold War anymore. It's a different era. Yeah, it is. And just look into... Find a Russian American. Find somebody who has lived in Russia, who emigrated to America after the fall of the Soviet Union, and talk to them about what the plan is. They'll tell you. I have a couple of friends who are Russian. One of them may or may not be a member of the Russian mafia. I don't know, but he hates Putin. Oh, really? You're telling me that a bad guy that you know hates Putin? Well, you can't be defined by how you cash checks. You know, he makes money doing what he does, but he's got some other values. He's got some other ideas. All right, let's move into the topics today. Let's find out what's happening today. This is a distressing one. Greg Abbott is trending very highly on multiple platforms today. Why is Greg Abbott trending? Well, here in Texas, Greg Abbott, governor of Texas, he is in a big primary fight. Boy, and he's being prime. Greg Abbott's a very pro Trump, MAGA friendly, right wing conservative. I don't even say conservative because those really conservative values have been thrown out. There's no real conservatism anymore. The real conservatives out there are like Lynn Cheney, who's being primaried in her own right. So, but whatever, MAGA we'll call it, which is, I guess, is the new sort of America first, and that's it. Don't ask any more questions. Just as long as everything we do, we can shout America first, then we're good. So Greg Abbott is very, very anchored in that world, but he's seeing an incredible fight for his seat, which, you know, he's in a wheelchair. So, yeah. But Abbott is being challenged by Don Huffines on his right. And he's being challenged by this other lady who I don't know if she's even all that important, but I was coming down 75 today. I saw a billboard for her, and it's a woman, and she's running for governor. She's got 3 names, and she looks like the church lady, and her slogan is a real Christian for Texas. So I got to imagine that she's even further to the right. So what Greg Abbott has to do is he has to just, dispel any notions that he's not as far right and as far into, stopping things that I don't like as anybody else. So Greg Abbott is trending today because he has empowered the Attorney General's office of the state of Texas through a letter today, and it's trending. He has empowered the Attorney General to prosecute parents of trans children for child abuse. Now, that's the way it's being framed. I'm going to read you, my fair Texans, the actual letter that he sent out. And, we could talk about it because certainly there are people, he's going to put parents of trans kids in jail. No, he's not. And I can see how if you were looking to fight, you might use that as your argument. But I don't know that that's necessarily true. It's a troubling position that he seems to take. But I don't think it's necessarily as awful as what people are saying. We'll have to see how this plays out. But here's the letter from Greg Abbott to the Honorable Jamie Masters, Commissioner of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Dear Commissioner Masters, consistent with our correspondence in August of 2021, the Office of the Attorney General has now confirmed in the enclosed opinion that a number of so-called sex change procedures constitute child abuse under existing Texas law. Because the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services is responsible for protecting children from abuse, I hereby direct your agency to conduct a prompt and thorough investigation of any reported instances of these abusive procedures in the state of Texas. As the Attorney General's opinion number KP-0401 makes clear, it is already against the law to subject Texas children to a wide variety of elective procedures for gender transitioning, including reassignment surgeries that can cause sterilization, mastectomies, removals of otherwise healthy body parts, and administration of puberty-blocking drugs or suprapsychologic doses of testosterone or estrogen. See Texas.fam code 261 is a bunch of numbers, which defines abuse. Texas law imposes reporting requirements upon all licensed professionals who have direct contact with children who may be subject to such abuse, including doctors, nurses, and teachers, and provides criminal penalties for failure to report such child abuse. There are similar reporting requirements and criminal penalties for members of the general public, parents. Texas law also imposes a duty on Department of Family and Protective Services to investigate the parents of a child who is subjected to the abuse, gender transitioning procedures, and on other state agencies to investigate licensed facilities where such procedures may occur. To protect Texas children from abuse, the Department of Family and Protective Services and other state agencies must follow the law as explained in the Office of the Attorney General's opinion. Sincerely, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas. Now, this is being spun by the left. I'm not even certain that we need to use that word, but it's being interpreted by the left that Greg Abbott is going to be throwing parents of trans kids in jail. That's incredibly reductive. It's an oversimplification of what this is. I don't know how much bite this has. In fact, I've read it about 5 times this morning and tried to process what this actually says. It truly, on the surface, it seems like if you want all trans kids and parents to be thrown in jail, because that's just how you feel about it, then for you, this is like, yeah, this is what I want. But I don't really see. Look, here's my opinion on it. I don't know that children or minors under the age of 18, regardless of how stated their personal identity is by the time they turn 18, I don't think they should have any kind of, I don't think surgery, I don't think you should be allowed to have surgeries, but I also don't think that anyone under 18 should have, breast implants. I think that these are adult decisions that you have to at least wait until you're 18 years old and viewed in the eyes of the law as a free thinking individual with all the incumbent rights of a free citizen. If there is a situation where like some crazy parents, and again, this is like what, 1 in 1,000. Well, I guess the first thing you got to say, are there children out there who truly believe that they are biologically trans or gender fluid or in the wrong body, as we used to say? If you believe that, and I do, I believe that that's a very real thing. I believe that you can be born a boy, but somehow throughout your life, even when you're 5 years old, you carry yourself very feminine, very, you seem to be. If you then tell me as you grow older that, you know what, I think I might be. Look, I'm not a doctor. I just know that hasn't just been something that's occurred within the last couple of years, that the trans issue has been front and center. I knew a kid when I was, two kids, there was a boy that I went to school with for 8 years who every time I think of him, when I think back of this particular kid, I picture a girl, because he was incredibly, you weren't gay. It wasn't like you were gay back then, everything was gay. Everything, that's gay, you're gay, what's up, fag? That was just the way we talked. We didn't really think about how we were applying that to specific situations. But in the specific case of this guy, Tom, like, I would fully expect, I mean, I don't know that anybody's ever seen him. I never really talked to him, but I would not be shocked at all if we showed up to a reunion and Tom was now a girl, because that just seemed appropriate. He carried himself more. He didn't wear dresses. We're not talking about a kid in 1983 showing up to the 8th grade in a dress, but he was a boy who was not like the other boys. And he wasn't putting on an act. He was actually a really cool kid. He was really nice and he was really friendly, and he didn't get picked on or anything, but he wasn't macho. He was picked last for gym. He didn't go out for any sports. You wouldn't be in line with Tom and say, hey, did you see that Bears game last night? Because you knew that wasn't something that he knew about. However, he was the kid in class that could braid a girl's hair. You know, he could do all of those things. And all of his friends were girls. He used to sit at the... So, like I said, this isn't a new thing. I've experienced these people throughout my life that were otherwise decent and normal and kind. And there's another one who was an asshole. There's Ricky. Yeah, that dude was an asshole. But I was really little with that guy. That guy. Anyway, let's focus back on Tom. Tom wasn't faking it. Tom was a kid in 1983 who didn't know what the was going on. He was just whatever he was naturally. So I do believe that this is a naturally occurring thing. Now, is there a concern that with this day and age, the open conversation about all of these issues, that we may have the rare instance of a crazy person, a crazy parent who wants to turn their kid into a little, or whatever it is, you know, I don't even want to, you know what I'm saying? And he's 12 years old, but he wants to be a girl, and I want him to have the surgery. No, I don't think 12-year-olds should be. Is that what we're talking about here? I mean, what he doesn't really get specific as to what kind of kids we're talking about. We have to assume that it's everybody under 18. And when you read this in first glance, if you're not very well studied on the subject, you might come away going, "Are 7-year-olds being forced to have sex changes?" I mean, I don't know that that's a thing. And honestly, if a doctor gave a 7-year-old a sex change operation, I think that doctor ought to be looked at. I think that that's an issue. Now, as far as the hormone treatments and all of that, I mean, how old are we talking? This is what I say. I don't know how much bite this actual thing has. I think that we're in an election year, and I think this is just one of those things that he can put out. And the message, the narrative that will be spun off this will be a narrative that Greg Abbott thinks is going to help him in his right challenges from a guy like Don Huffines, who seems very much like Hitler, who seems very, very far to the right. So, you know, obviously, I'm no fan of Greg Abbott. I think that Greg Abbott doesn't have a mind of his own, and I think that he does things like this, and this is primarily one of the reasons that I don't like him. But I don't know how much true bite this has. If we're talking about doctors and nurses who are performing wholesale gender reassignment surgeries on little kids, then yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem for me, and I'm a pretty open-minded guy. I just don't think that what somebody believes they are at 10 years old, my kid's 12 years old. I mean, he's going through puberty, so I'm pretty sure he likes girls. I mean, I've looked at his history, you know, his internet history. I know what he's looking at. Can't watch TV with a 12-year-old boy without him going, "She's hot." Yeah, okay, you want to stow that? That's, you know, that goes without saying. She's an actress. You know, they don't really hire. That's why she's in this show. She's really hot. I like her friend better. Okay, stop. That's really what you're getting out of this? And that never goes away entirely, by the way. You'll be 45, 50 years old, and you'll still be watching TV. You just don't say it out loud, because puberty isn't forcing you to say these things, to declare these statements. Unless you do a stupid radio show or a stream like this, then you say those things for comic effect. But yeah, so that's why Greg Abbott is trending. I think Greg Abbott is a terrible governor. I think he's a terrible guy. But, you know, he's getting hammered. He's getting hammered by the left for this. And I don't know, maybe rightfully so. There are probably other things that he should be hammered for. But I read this multiple times this morning, and I'm like, this is not specific at all. This seems like just a very general statement designed to appeal to a certain voter base that is just freaked out by the whole trans issue. Just totally freaked out. Okay, what else is happening? Phil Mickelson is trending. Phil Mickelson is freaking people out, the golfer. I have to be honest, I don't really understand what's going on here with the Phil Mickelson case, because the stuff that he said that stuck out to me, Phil Mickelson gave an interview to someone writing a biography about him. And I don't know if Phil had a couple of cocktails and he was feeling a little loosey-goosey and just started talking. And he says he thought he was off the record. The writer of the story who leaked out some of these details over the weekend, He says, no, we were absolutely not off the record. He knew what we were talking about. I'm writing a book about his life. There's basically nothing off the record. But the thing that Phil Mickelson is in trouble for doesn't seem okay. So I'll give you an example. All right. Phil Mickelson apologizes for Saudi comments. He has been dropped by his sponsor of 2 decades, KPMG. They've ended their relationship with him, which is crazy. I mean, if you watch golf, Phil's always got the KPMG logos all over everything, and that's not going to happen anymore. The comments concern a proposed Super League of Golf, a competitor to the PGA. It is backed by Saudi money. It's basically they want to create a new PGA, a new group to compete with the PGA, and it's backed by all of these Saudi billionaires who are promising to pay the golfers. Basically, if you remember what the USFL did in 1982 or 83 when it first came into the league, and they spent all their money on the top draft picks and they scooped the NFL. They basically got all of the top draft picks from those years. Herschel Walker, the quarterbacks, Jim Kelly, Steve Young, Reggie White. I mean, all the dudes that would have been the top 10 picks in the NFL draft got scooped up by the USFL, and the USFL just paid them way more than the NFL was going to. So that's kind of like what the Super League here is proposing, the Saudi-backed Super League. They're like, fine, we'll just give all of the top golfers in the world bigger contracts, and we'll give them easier schedules, and we'll allow anything that a pro golfer has to complain about. The Super League is saying, yeah, we'll fix that. I don't know what a pro golfer is complaining about. Phil Mickelson, who for the bulk of his career has been, second place to Tiger Woods, is worth $500 million off of playing golf. So I don't know what the hell. I don't know what these golfers have it so hard. As I heard somebody say this morning, this isn't like 1960 PGA, where a guy would finish a tournament in Santa Barbara and have to get in his car and drive cross country to New York for the next tournament, carrying his own clubs, putting them in and then possibly make like, a couple of $100 for his effort. That's not what the PGA is anymore. The PGA, every PGA card holder is a wealthy dude. That's like making it to the NFL. Even the poorest guy in the NFL makes more money than you and me. So I don't know what the problem is. Maybe it's not just money. Maybe it's other things. But here's the story. Golfer Phil Mickelson issued an apology on Tuesday for his comments about the Saudis and a proposed Super League. Mickelson's comments were about a potential breakaway Saudi-funded golf league, and he said they were not intended to be shared publicly. In a conversation earlier this month with author Alan Shipnuck, Mickelson described the Saudis as scary and said that they execute people over there for just being gay. Shipnuck recently published an excerpt from the exchange about the PGA Tour. Mickelson apologized and said his comments about the Saudis and a proposed Super League were meant to be off the record. See, this is what I don't understand about these comments. Maybe it's just the way I'm geared. But he's right. He said the Saudis are scary. The Saudis are scary people. The way that kind of money with that kind of unchecked influence and power taking over professional golfing, yeah, he should be scary. However, he is one of the prime targets of this league, and he's been one of the big promoters of the league. So I guess that's where the problem comes in. The problem comes in that he was basically caught talking shit about the guys who are backing the league that, he is supposedly going to be a big part of. Although it doesn't look this way now, given my recent comments, this is what Phil said, my actions throughout this process have always been with the best interests of golf, my peers, sponsors, and fans. There is the problem of off-the-record comments being shared out of context and without my consent. But the bigger issue is that I used words that do not reflect my true feelings or intentions. I was reckless. I offended people, and I am deeply sorry for my choice of words. What? You said that they kill gay. They do kill gay people. Why are you apologizing? I just don't understand the story. I don't understand. You said the Saudis were scary. The Saudis are scary. Is it because the Saudis heard you say this and they went, give us the check back? Give us, is that it? Is this for your own? You're worth $500 million, Phil. I don't. And then he also pissed off a whole bunch of people in the PGA, and there's talk that he could be banned from the PGA because of some other things that he said. Shipnick is writing a biography on Mickelson slated for May. During the conversation last November, Mickelson also told him that it was worth doing business with the Saudis, despite their history of human rights violations, in order to change the PGA Tour. That's one of the issues that got the people in the PGA all pissed off. They're like, wait, what? What? Did you hear what Pugs just said? You're worth $500 million. How bad has the PGA Tour been for you that now you're talking shit? Mickelson was quoted as saying, we know they killed Khashoggi, speaking of Washington Post reporter Jamal Khashoggi, and they have a terrible record on human rights. They execute people over there for being gay, Mickelson said in the interview. Knowing all of this, why would I even consider it? Question mark. Because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to reshape how the PGA Tour operates. So he's like, yeah, the devil, he's, I'm supposed to be a Christian. I'm supposed to be a good Christian man. But the devil showed up, and the devil's like, hey, I got some pretty good things for you. Well, gee, I don't know, devil. You do some really bad stuff. But tell me about the fringe benefits of being your friend. I mean, that's basically what he's saying. I have no idea what this is about. I don't know. Maybe I'm just so outside of the normal loop that I don't know how to process this kind of information, because what he's saying about the Saudis seems to be right. And then he says, but whatever, is that the problem? That what he said about the Saudis was right, but then said, but it's good. It's good for me. It'll change. I have no idea, but Phil Mickelson is trending. So if you're so inclined, you can find out more. I really don't get what that's all about. Marilyn Manson is also trending today. Marilyn Manson is trending. Why is Marilyn Manson trending? Well, because Evan Rachel Wood apparently has a new movie or a new docuseries or something like that. Remember Evan Rachel Wood? She was wasn't he dating her when she was like 17? She was like a child actress, right? Wasn't she? I don't even know what she was in. She was in the Wrestler, right? With Mickey Rourke. What else was she in? I don't know. She seems oh, I know what she's in now. She's in the HBO show Westworld, right? Isn't she one of the stars of Westworld? Evan Rachel Wood opens up about her abuse allegations against Marilyn Manson and campaigns to pass the Phoenix Act in a new trailer for her 2-part documentary, Phoenix Rising. I don't know what this is, but Evan Rachel Wood for a while now has been talking about how Marilyn Manson used to do really terrible things to her, like really abusive things, really weird things. Well, you dated Marilyn Manson, that's not necessarily out of care. If you were to come to me and go, hey, did you hear Marilyn Manson is into some really bizarre and abusive sex stuff? I'd be like, yeah, that checks out. That seems likely. Tell me that John Denver is into that kind of stuff. Well, John Denver's dead. That's a bad example. Tell me that Tony Bennett is Tony Bennett, he's sick and he's probably not going to be around. You honestly can't come up with any milquetoast example. Tell me that Michael Bublé is into. There you go. Tell me that Michael Bublé is into that kind of stuff, and I'd be shocked. But so there you go. So Evan Rachel Wood is on a campaign, and it looks like she's got a documentary that's going to detail all the crazy stuff that Marilyn Manson did to her, and that is why. Oh my God, this is breaking news right here. I'm sorry. Hold on. I got some breaking news here. Give me a second while I see what this is. And I have to be honest with you. I thought this. Okay, so trending right now, it just popped up in the top 3 trends. It just had posted this one says it was posted 2 hours ago. Okay, so it must just be starting to trend now. Stand-up comedian and shock magician The Amazing Jonathan is dead after battling heart issues for years. The Amazing Jonathan dead at 63 from, I don't know if you're familiar with The Amazing Jonathan. He's actually a guy that I know pretty well. Oh, do tell us stories about how you know the Amazing Jonathan. The Amazing Jonathan was very close friends with a guy who I broke into radio working for, so he was a regular on the show. Stand-up comedian and shock magician, the Amazing Jonathan is dead after battling heart issues for years. An assistant to Jonathan's wife tells TMZ, Jonathan passed Tuesday night while at home, cuddling with his wife of 11 years, Anastasia Sin. Is that a porn star? Is Anastasia Sin a porn star? I gotta be honest. I'm going to have to check that right now. Don't get distracted. I'm sorry. I got to know. Anastasia Sin. Is that a porn star? I mean, he lived in Vegas. He had been living in Vegas for a long time. Anastasia. And why would is it Sin with a Y? What is it? Let's see here. Oh, there we go. How's she spelling that? It's the cool spelling. SYNN. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. She's got a Wikipedia page. Anastasia Sin is a Canadian sideshow stunt performer and magician, as well as a transhumanist and biohacker. She is known for her cyborg rights activism. She was married to magician and comedian Amazing Jonathan, whom she also managed. Okay, sounds like she should be a porn star. I could spend the next 20 minutes just diving into what a transhumanist and biohacker is. But you know what? We'll put that aside. So the Amazing Jonathan is dead. If I'm being honest with you, I thought he died years ago. That's why I was shocked when I saw it. I was like, huh, really? He didn't die? Because I know that he'd been sick. The former Las Vegas headliner, whose real name is Jonathan Sezels, had been diagnosed with congestive heart failure back in 2007, and it's been a very tough road, the assistant says. We have thought we lost him so many times that we never thought it would actually happen. Okay. Jonathan was making up to $3 million a year at the peak of his Las Vegas fame when he was in residency at Bally's Casino. Okay, we don't need to go. The Detroit native, the guy I worked for was also a Detroit-based comedian. The Detroit native gained a more mainstream audience after regular appearances on the Chris Angel show Mind Freak. Okay, so whatever. All right, so Amazing Jonathan is dead. That is Did I tell you I knew him? Did I tell you I had run-ins with him? Yeah. That's why I'm not quite so sure. It's a shame when anybody dies. Let's just say that. It's a shame when anybody dies. But, mean people die too. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, I thought he died a long time ago. That's why I was a little bit shocked by that. All right, let's get back into what we have prepared here. As far as the things that are trending, Amazing Jonathan passed away today. Marilyn Manson, we covered that. Evan Rachel Wood. Oh, how about this one? This is an interesting one. Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan now she's trending. Why is she trending? What, haven't we forgotten about her? Haven't we dropped her on the dumpster of life? No, she's back, and she is trending because she recently got on TikTok. Lindsay Lohan now has a TikTok account. That's why she's trending? Oh no, that's not why she's trending. Why she's trending is because she sent the Twitterverse in a bit of a tizzy over her first TikTok, where, are you ready for this? Apparently, we have been pronouncing her last name wrong all of these years. And it just got to the extent where she was like, okay, let's just go with it. Okay, yeah, I guess my name is Lindsay Lohan now. Everyone's going to call me Lindsay Lohan. I guess that, but I'm Irish, so I understand Irish pronunciations of names. And I'm looking at that name. Like if I met somebody who wasn't Lindsay Lohan and that's how their last name was spelled, I would probably pronounce it Lohan. And that's what Lindsay says. My last name is Lohan. It's not Lohan. It's an Irish spelling. It's an Irish pronunciation. It's Lohan, Lindsay Lohan, like Lowan, Lohan. okay? Not Lohan. And people are going nuts. People are saying they feel betrayed. People are saying their entire lives are a lie. So that's why Lindsay Lohan is trending. And because it's Lindsay Lohan, we're not exactly going to spend all that much time on it. Josh Hamilton here, a little bit of news for us North Texas Ranger fans. Josh Hamilton is trending today. Why is Josh Hamilton trending? Well, I'll tell you. Josh Hamilton is trending because, he apparently beat up his daughter. Now, this goes back to 2019. No, that's the wrong one. I'm sorry. I don't want to open up that one. Josh Hamilton is an incredible baseball player. I mean, possibly if he'd had his head screwed on right, he could be in the conversation for one of the greatest professional baseball players of the last 30 or 40 years. That's how good Josh Hamilton was. But he's crazy. He's got all kinds of problems. What do you mean he's crazy? He just has drug addiction. That was a problem. No. There's a lot of other things. Drug addiction is certainly what derailed his sports career. But, there are things that led to him having this kind of drug addiction. There are decisions that he made because of some sort of obvious other issues that caused him to just so willingly, time and time again, throw away this opportunity to be, the Ted Williams or whatever you want to call him, the Mickey Mantle of this generation of baseball players. And even through all of that, all of him tripping over his own dick is basically how you would describe it. This guy did everything in his power to see to it that he wasn't the fulfillment of what everybody when he was 18 years old said, that's going to be one of the greatest baseball players who's ever lived. He did everything in his power through drug addiction, through bad decisions, through terrible behavior, all of these things. And then, the Texas Rangers gave him a shot. What have we been going back? 10, 12, 13 years now. They basically took his career off the scrap heap of Major League Baseball. They had tossed him aside. He wasn't going to be what they had all thought that he was going to be. And the Texas Rangers gave him another shot. He was clean. He was sober. He was on his best behavior. He found Jesus, all of that stuff. He was married. And guess what? He, for a very brief moment in time, showed what everybody saw in him as a kid when he was coming up. He was, without a doubt, one of the best players in Major League Baseball for a very short period of time. And then it's just awful. It's just bad decisions and relapses and problems. And okay, so that's the history of Josh Hamilton. And I don't want to read his Wikipedia page, but my God, is it probably a fascinating read. Former Texas Rangers left fielder Josh Hamilton has pled guilty on Tuesday in the alleged physical assault of his daughter. Hamilton pled guilty to unlawful restraint, a Class A misdemeanor, before Tarrant County Judge Mike Thomas. Hamilton, 38. He's only 38 years old. First of all, when did he come in? Did he come into the league at like 23, 24 years old? He could have been in the league years earlier than that, but because of all of his issues, and he's only 38 now. He's been out of baseball for 5 years. He's been out. My God. Hamilton, 38 was, and I'm a Ranger fan. And I know other Ranger fans. I know that he's, actually, I don't know that. I shouldn't say that. I was going to say, I know that he's beloved. I don't know that he's beloved. I know that we were all so proud of him when it looked like he really had turned things around, but he didn't really. He didn't really. He was on his best behavior for a couple of contracts, and then, he got the money that he wanted. And Hamilton, 38, was accused of hitting and scratching his daughter in September of 2019. During the assault, he told his daughter to tell a judge what a miserable dad I am, so that she would never have to go to his house again. He's divorced from his wife. They had this beautiful family, and she was, the wife was reported the person who got him straightened out, and they were all into God together, and, Jesus is their light. They were very preachy about that kind of stuff. I didn't know that they were divorced, but apparently they are divorced, and he has shared custody, it appears, with a couple. He's got a couple of kids, but this is his eldest daughter that we're talking about. And back in 2019, he knocked her around a little bit. He told his daughter during the incident, tell the judge what a terrible dad I am, so that you would never have to come back to my house again. This according to Keller police reports. Ooh, Keller, but he's got a nice house out there. Josh Hamilton pled guilty Tuesday to unlawful restraint, Class A misdemeanor, before Judge Mike Thomas. So that sounds like a plea down, unlawful restraint, because there were other charges here that in the initial filing. In April of 2020, a Tarrant County grand jury indicted Hamilton on felony injury to a child charge. So he obviously pleaded down. So the grand jury looked at it and said, okay, this is what he did. And then his high-priced attorneys got involved and said, why don't we just say that he didn't do that? And let's say that he did this, and we could wrap this all up, and he'll plead guilty, which is what eventually happened yesterday. When interviewed by Child Protective Services, his daughter told the interview that Hamilton started to assault and throw things at her after she made a comment that upset him. The former baseball player also allegedly threw a full bottle of water that struck his daughter in the chest. Hamilton then pulled a chair out from under his daughter and threw it at her. Hamilton then allegedly took his daughter into a bedroom, pinned her down to the bed, and repeatedly hit her, according to the arrest warrant. Tarrant County court records show after the incident, Hamilton's ex-wife, Katie Hamilton, filed for a temporary restraining order against him on behalf of her daughter. Hamilton has 3 children, but court records show he is accused of assaulting the oldest. Yeah, that's what I'd heard earlier. As a part of the plea deal, Hamilton will pay court costs as well as a $500 fine. Hamilton will also have to attend anger control counseling, parenting classes, and do community service. Hamilton played with the Texas Rangers from 2008 to 2012, and then again in 2015 before retiring at the end of the season, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's been retired for 8 years. He's 38. He retired at 30? That's interesting. Ball players play into their 40s nowadays. All right. Yeah. Wasn't he... Remember the incident? I remember there being an incident where he fell off the wagon at Sherlock's in North Park Mall. Was it Ian Kinsler who was involved in that? I don't know. It was somebody else. There was somebody. I don't know. Anyway, all right. That's why Josh Hamilton is trending today. Jon Jones is also trending. Johnny Bones Jones, my estimation, probably the most deadly and intimidating and just scary good mixed martial artist of all time. I have never seen, and I've seen Jon Jones fight every fight that he's ever fought in the UFC. And I don't ever remember seeing anybody have him in trouble. Now, I know that, he had a great fight against Alexander Gustafsson that went back and forth, but I do not ever remember seeing Johnny Bones Jones in any trouble in any fight ever. He's got one loss. And it was because of a DQ. He got disqualified because he was beating this dude so badly that he accidentally hit him after just beating the snot out of him. He accidentally hit him in the back of the head and he got disqualified. And the guy who was getting his ass kicked was given the victory. And that's the lone loss. So Johnny Bones Jones is trending because if you remember, he's been trending since last night. If you remember, like, they don't remember, Pugs. They don't. This is like one of those weird subjects that only you're interested in. Then why is it trending in the top 5 for the past 24 hours? If I'm the only one. So back in September, Jon Jones, who's still a young guy, he still should be fighting. He hasn't fought in 2 years. He's got a bunch of problems. He's talking about Josh Hamilton. Jon Jones, reportedly, he's failed a bunch of drug tests, so it's not reportedly. He's gotten some DUIs. He likes to feel a little loosey-goosey from time to time. Jon Jones enjoys his, whatever you want to call it. He enjoys being fucked up. And let me tell you, Jon Jones, that's a dude you do not want to run across in the parking lot of your favorite sports bar. A drunk, rowdy Jon Jones will murder people. I don't care if he's wearing skinny jeans and boat shoes. He is going to kick your ass in the parking lot. That's scary Guys who are that deadly, who have that level of skill, who then turn out to be uncontrollable alcoholics and rageaholics, woo, you do not want to be around him. So it was back in September when he was inducted into the UFC's Hall of Fame, this big Hall of Fame celebration, and he was put in. He's still an active fighter, although he hasn't fought in 2 years, and he relinquished his belt, his 205-pound belt. He gave it up. He said, yeah, I don't want to fight for a while, so go ahead. Somebody else wants the championship, go there. I'm going to go up to heavyweight. So that was 2 years ago. He hasn't gone up to heavyweight. We haven't seen him fight in 2 years. In September, he was put into the UFC Hall of Fame, and big night for him. Big night. You know, you're being venerated as one of the greatest to ever do it. One of the, certainly in my opinion, the greatest I've ever seen. The Michael Jordan of MMA, in my estimation. And I've watched a lot of MMA. So it's a big night for him, Hall of Fame night. And after the Hall of Fame, he apparently got really drunk at the Hall of Fame dinner. And then in the lobby of Caesar's Palace, he took a poke at his girlfriend. Jon Jones, just publicly. He took a swing at his girlfriend. And he didn't connect because she's still alive. But he, you know, and the hotel security, Caesar's Palace security converged on the scene. Jon Jones, I guess to his credit, didn't engage with the phalanx of Caesar's Palace security, who I have to believe he could have kicked the ass of every single one of them individually. I don't know if 10 of them at the same time take them down. I guess I don't think any man could do that, but you know what I mean? So he left the situation and began walking down the strip. The the Las Vegas Police Department were called. They found him walking down the strip, highly intoxicated, very drunk. And they arrested him. They put him in handcuffs. And here, this is the body cam. This is the live body cam of the arrest of Johnny Bones Jones. And let me just say, it is not good for Johnny Bones. This is not good. Here we go. Let's see, can we pull this up? Yeah. You know what? I'm wondering if we should just do it on YouTube. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it on YouTube. All right, here we go. Oh, this guy. There's another one. We just talked about Josh Hamilton, somebody with all of the talent in the world. But, you know, if you can't control your inner demons, and by the way, we all have inner demons. You just got to learn how to control them. They'll be the death of you. So here we go. This is Johnny Bones Jones. Remember, he took a poke at his girl in the lobby of Caesar's Palace. He was chased out of there by Caesar's Palace security, and he started walking down the strip, and that is where Las Vegas police found him. Now here's Jon Jones in handcuffs, and this is what he does. Okay, there he is on the hood of the cop car.
Sir? No, sir. Where's the... Yes, sir. In my pocket, in my wallet. Is it okay if you grab it? Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir. He's doing... Doesn't seem to be resisting.
Yeah, you can stand up, man. Oh, man. This is so humiliating.
All right, so that's him saying this is so humiliating.
Got the Hall of Fame tonight, and then you're going to put me on this by walking down the street.
Amazing.
You can stand up, man.
So Bones Jones is claiming that he's being arrested just for walking down the street.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Humiliate me, my Hall of Fame. You f***ing nerd. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. You f***ing nerd. I hate you so much. Thank you. My Hall of Fame name. What's your name? Put it on camera.
Doesn't like you, Josh.
Nerd. Don't touch me. Please don't hurt me. Sir. Yes, sir. You f***ing nerd. On my Hall of Fame night. Say your name publicly. Say it. Garrett what? John. Officer Nerd. Garrett.
Officer Nerd.
Hall of Fame night. Just because I'm big and black. And what did I do? All these officers. What did I do? Officer Garrett Nerd. You heard me. On my Hall of Fame night, just to have it.
He's big and black, just walking down the street on his Hall of Fame night. What did I do? Well, you threw a punch at your girlfriend.
I
public
came from
place.
my Hall of Fame ceremony, and I'm black, and I have my friends, and I did nothing to you. And I'm not. It was at a ceremony for the Hall of Fame person. I'm not gonna answer your questions no more. Go hang me, hurt me, and kill me. What did I do? Thank you. My Hall. A black man can't drink. And getting elected into the Hall of Fame, and now this is what I got.
Okay, calm down, Johnny Bones.
Relax. You all right? You all right? Just relax. You have anything in your pockets, man?
What did I do?
Is it okay?
What did I do? The other prison officers, I hate you. I hate you.
Oh my God. Okay, let's watch that again.
The other prison officers, I hate you.
Look at the force of this.
I hate you.
Oh!
Hate you. No, please don't.
By the way, this is the little brother of Chandler Jones, the standout defensive football player in the NFL.
Oh, please don't, guys. Guys, please don't.
That's pretty much it. They stick him in the car at that point, and nothing else goes down. But yeah, so that's why Johnny Bones Jones is trending. Here's what's really troubling too, because when he's on, when he is fighting, he is without a doubt, in my estimation, the greatest fighter I've ever seen. I put him in a category with Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva, who I think he's better than, and a heavyweight by the name of Fedor Emelianenko, who are, in my opinion, the three greatest MMA fighters to ever fight. Jon Jones very well may be number one. And when he's at his height, he is just this incredibly electrifying athlete. And when he's on his best behavior, he seems kind, he seems friendly, he's funny, he's got a self-deferential way about him where he makes fun of and criticizes himself to an extent. He seems wonderful with kids. And then he has these moments. Where he's, he seems to have a drinking problem. He has gotten, you can pull up Jon Jones DUI on YouTube, and there's a couple of them. There's a couple of him, and he always seems to break bad on the cops. He's always talking shit to the cops when he's drunk, so I don't know, man. That's like I said, this happened back in September. The idea of his 2 years away from fighting was supposed to be that John had accomplished just about everything that a young man in the sport could accomplish. And it was time now for Johnny Bones Jones to work on himself and become a man and become like a better person, work on his addiction, work on his struggles. And he's been gone for 2 years. And then just in September, they decided to put him into the Hall of Fame, honoring him as this incredible fighter, this incredible athlete in this sport. And then this is what he does on his Hall of Fame night. The night that he goes into the Hall of Fame. This is there's also a very famous story. I mean, Jon Jones has not always had this terrible press. He was fighting in, I believe it was New York. Maybe it was one of the Madison Square Garden fights. And it was earlier in the day of one of his fights where he was, and the guy that he was with captured at least the second half of it on a cell phone. But some dude, was it a purse snatching or something? Somebody snatched a purse and was running down the street. And there's video of literally Jon Jones pulling his car over, jumping out, chasing this guy down, and being a hero and people are complicated. He wasn't always seen as this mess of a guy. There are some that will tell you about Jon Jones that he had such an easy time, that his victories were so easy. In the 205 light heavyweight division was just such a cakewalk for him. I mean, he's walked through that division 3 or 4 times. He fights. Okay, so there's another number 1 contender. Let me knock him out in 30 seconds. I mean, he's just, that they say that he was just bored, that he wasn't challenged, that he turned to drugs and he turned to alcohol. He liked to be high. He didn't have to train quite as much. He didn't have to be as disciplined mentally as maybe he thought he had to before he walked into the sport and cleaned out the division. So I don't know. When you're the absolute best at something and nothing is a challenge and there's no reason for you to really be dedicated to your craft, because as you learn, we know kids in school like this, kids who never study, who never do homework, and then walk in and ace the test. It's like they just don't have to study. They don't have to work as hard as the rest of them. So that leaves a lot of spare time. That leads to a lot of degenerate behavior. That's, I don't know. That's what do I know? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a specialist in emotional disorders or addiction. I don't know. I'm just free balling here. Also trending today. Let's see, what else do we have? Mark Lanigan. This was a sad one. This happened yesterday. This was trending yesterday, and it is still trending today. Save this for towards the end here. Mark Lanigan has died at 57 years old. I'm telling you, one by one, my childhood, my formative years are dying right before our very eyes. Who's Mark Lanigan? I don't even know who that is. He's the lead singer of the Screaming Trees, man. And if you come from the grunge era, if you were really into Screaming Trees, were one of my preferred grunge. Some dudes would be like, everybody knew Pearl Jam and everybody knew Nirvana, right? You were either on Team Nirvana or Team Pearl Jam. If you were on Team Pearl Jam, then you might also be on Team Alice in Chains, as those two bands were closely associated. If you were on Team Nirvana, then you may have been on Team Screaming Trees, as I was. Screaming Trees, by the way, were before any of them. They started out in the early 80s, and they were just slogging around the Seattle rock scene before it was called grunge or anything, and they were one of the most popular local bands, and it was only after Nirvana broke through that a band like the Screaming Trees. By the way, funny, Screaming Trees, I don't know what he's screaming. Yeah, they've got an. Actually, I think they've only had like 1 or 2 radio hits. But that was the CD era. That was the era where you'd be at a party and an entire CD would just play. So you became accustomed to music. It wasn't necessarily the stuff that was being played on hit radio. I Nearly Lost You is probably. I nearly lost you. Bum, bum, bum. I nearly lost you. That is like a grunge anthem. Is that on the Singles soundtrack? I bet it might be. They were a great band, and they didn't look like. They looked like they were the band that really looked like lumberjacks, and that's why the band was called the Screaming Trees. They, as the story goes, they were practicing in a garage when they were just a young high school kids, and everybody in the band was very big. I said that they looked like lumberjacks. They were all 6 foot plus, and a number of them were like 300 pounds plus. They were massive. And one of the members' fathers, probably the guy whose garage they were practicing in, came up to him while they were practicing in the garage and said, "Would you calm down? You guys sound like a bunch of screaming trees," because they're so big. And they're like, "Hey, that would be a good name." Mark Lanigan, whose dramatic baritone vocals fronted the proto-grunge band Screaming Trees, died at his home in Killarney, Ireland. He was 57 years old. Boy, if you've ever been to Killarney, that's a place to retire to. He did it right. He was also Queens of the Stone Age. He was in Queens of the Stone Age, which bit of a super group. The statement posted on the artist's official Twitter account did not specify a cause of death, though Lanigan reportedly was suffering from COVID-19 and a kidney disease. The singer with uniquely scratchy vocals was born November 25th in Ellenburg, Washington. He made a name for himself in the late 80s and early 90s with the band Screaming Trees, a forerunner of the grunge movement that would come to define American music and the Northwest. The closest the band came to mainstream and widespread success was with the album Sweet Oblivion, which included their biggest hit, Nearly Lost You. The band split in 2000, after which Lanigan began a solo career and did vocal features for bands including Queens of the Stone Age. The artist was open about his struggles with drugs and alcohol, which he wrote about in his 2020 memoir. He was sober in the final decade of his life after receiving help from the Musicians Assistance Program. He lived with his wife, Shelley Brian, who survives him. I wanted excitement, adventure, decadence, depravity, anything, everything, the artist wrote in the memoir entitled Sing Backwards and Weep. I would never find any of it in this dusty, isolated cow town. If the band could get me out, could get me into that life I so craved, it was worth any indignity, any hardship, or any torture, he wrote. He was great. He's one of the, we all tend to focus on, who might be the big three from that scene. Certainly Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, but then there were just so many other, you got your Mudhoney's, you got your Screaming Trees, you got your Alice in Chains. And I guess Alice in Chains had enough hits that they might be elevated to the next level. But that's really sad. 57 years old. He seemed like a really cool guy. I always liked him. Mark Lanigan. And he lived in Killarney, Ireland, which is a totally cool place to retire to. If you're like a rock star and you got like a little bit of rock star money, you want to like just go do nothing for the rest of your life, you could do a lot worse than moving to Killarney, Ireland. And I'm guessing with a last name like Lanigan, he was pretty comfortable in the Irish countryside. Snowfall is trending. Snowfall, the TV show Snowfall, that is trending today. Why, Pugs? Why is Snowfall trending? Because coming back for season 5. I love Snowfall. If you guys have an opportunity, if you have Hulu, you can catch up on all the previous seasons of Snowfall. It's a good one. It seems like this season, I've been waiting forever for season 5 of Snowfall. Snowfall is about the crack epidemic in South Central. And it's kind of like, if you like The Wire, it's kind of like that. It's about these kids who become crack kingpins and gangs, and got a little Boys in the Hood kind of vibe. It's very good. So that's why Snowfall is trending. Season 5 premieres tonight on FX. But again, if you're unfamiliar with Snowfall and you're looking for a new series to jump into, you can find it on Hulu. And finally, as far as the things that are trending that I have prepared here to talk about, okay, Texas, this one's for you. Texas has been rated the 3rd most sinful state in America. That's right. Texas is the 3rd most sinful state. Texas, the Bible Belt. How is Texas the 3rd? Are you telling me that Texas is more sinful than New York? Yeah, it is. Yeah, apparently it is. Texas is the 3rd most sinful state in the entire United States, according to, let's find out what this is all about. I mean, I know what it's all about because I already read this, but I'll share it with you. When it comes to the so-called 7 deadly sins, Texas is very near the top of the naughty list. A new report puts Texas at number 3 on its list of the nation's most sinful states. In the survey, experts compared the 50 states based on 7 sinful behaviors: anger and hatred, excesses and vices, greed, jealousy, laziness, lust, and vanity. Vanity has got to be right. Texas has got to be way near the top in vanity. Texas ranked first or worst for lust. For vanity, the Lone Star State came in 6th. The state's ranking in other categories, Texas in anger and hatred ranked 30th. Well, that's good. That's good. That's not terrible, right? Excesses and vices, 37th. Greed, 29th. Jealousy, 12th. Laziness, 24th. Only Nevada and California are the 2 states considered more sinful than Texas, according to this ranking. Idaho ranked as the least sinful state in the nation. Yes, because nobody wants to live in Idaho. Anybody who's up to anything bad doesn't want to go to Idaho. There's nothing to do there. There you go. So, okay, there you have it. Texas, apparently we're very sinful here. We're the 3rd Bible Belt, church steeple. And you know what? It makes sense, because one of the first things that someone told me when I moved to Texas, they said, here's what you got to know about Texas. And this was a lifelong Texan. He goes, first he said, He said, here's what you need to know about Dallas. He goes, you are talking about a city that defines itself by its football team and the assassination of a president. I go, oh, really? That's interesting. But that can't be what all things. Well, let me tell you about Texas. Texas has more church steeples and titty bars than any place else in the world. So figure that one out. I'm like, oh God, okay. Church steeples and titty bars. So figure that one out. Yeah. But, I choose to live here. I love it. It's my favorite state. All right, let's get into now the things that makes today so great. This is what we've been we've all been waiting for. Used to open the show with this. As I said, we're gonna move it around a little bit, especially during the whatever we have here with the war, so that we can jump right in with coverage of that stuff. Today is February the 23rd. It is the 54th day of the year. 311 days remain until the end of the year. What happened on this day? 1927, U.S. President Calvin Coolidge signs a bill by Congress establishing the Federal Radio Commission. This would later be replaced by the FCC, which was to regulate the use of radio frequencies in the United States. Well, it had been a long-standing goal of mine as a radio professional over the years to watch the demise and the end of the FCC. And I am now seeing that happen. The FCC is basically no more of a thorn in my side, no more of a negative influence on creativity and free speech. But the downside of that is that's because radio doesn't count anymore. Radio's not a thing anymore. So the FCC, see, by connection there, the FCC would no longer be important if the thing that it was governing is no longer important. On this day in 1942, during World War II, Japanese submarines fire artillery shells at the coastline near Santa Barbara, California. Did you know this? Did you know that Santa Barbara was attacked during World War II by Japanese subs? I mean, I remember in the movie, you ever seen the movie 1941, which was about the fear that Southern California was going to be attacked by the Japanese? It never was attacked by the Japanese, even though John Belushi is the fighter pilot. John Landis film. Oh, no. Steven Spielberg film. That's right. Just because it was Belushi, I thought it was Landis. But no, that is 1941 is considered to be Steven Spielberg's, biggest flop, which I don't know. I was like, what, 12 years old when I saw that? I loved it. I love 1941. That's a fun movie. I don't care if people said it was a flop. On this day in 1945, also during World War II, during the Battle of Iwo Jima, a group of United States Marines reached the top of Mount Suribachi on the island. I might be pronouncing that wrong. On the island, and are photographed raising the American flag. Holy balls. Come on, man. Is there any more iconic symbol of American exceptionalism than what occurred on this day? The soldiers on Iwo Jima with the flag at the top? Come on. That is badass. And that happened on this day. Remember that when you're singing the praises of our enemies. Oh, look at that. He threw back to something he was ranting about an hour and a half ago. 1954, on this day, the first mass inoculation of children against polio with the Salk vaccine began in Pittsburgh. See, this is why we don't have polio anymore. We'd probably still have polio if people were doing their own research back in 1954. In 2019, I usually have its own category for plane crashes, but there have not been many plane crashes in the last, certainly not between the parameters that I set, which is, I believe there's been a plane crash every single day of the year between 1945 and 2000. That's not even the case. There was no plane crash yesterday. There was no plane crashes on Monday. And the closest thing we got here is 2019 Atlas Air Flight 3591, a Boeing 767 freighter, crashed into the Trinity Bay near Anuka, Texas, killing 3 people. Tragic for those 3 people, but that's not like one of these big commercial airline disasters that I like to keep note of. On this day in 2020, it was 2 years ago today, 25-year-old African-American citizen Ahmaud Arbery is shot and murdered by 3 white men after visiting a house under construction while jogging in a neighborhood. This occurred in Satilla Shores near Brunswick in Glynn County, Georgia. 2 years to the day. And just yesterday, the 3 perpetrators were convicted of federal hate crimes. Okay, that's it. Let's do some birthdays. Here's one for us here. Cowboy fans of a certain age, born on this day in 1951, Ed Too Tall Jones, American football player and boxer. I remember, I hated Too Tall Jones because at the time that he was like a great player, I was a Bear fan and I hated the Cowboys because in my young life, the Bears only made the playoffs like one season and the Cowboys killed us. So I hated him. But I remember him as a boxer. I remember Big Ed Too Tall Jones as a boxer. I don't remember him being a particularly good boxer, but happy birthday, you iconic son of a bitch. Everybody loved him. Hollywood Henderson, Ed Too Tall Jones, Randy White. Come on. Born on this day in 1951, another proud Texan, Patricia Richardson. She, the mom on Home Improvement. Jill, right? Jill Taylor on Home Improvement. SMU grad, Patricia Richardson, born on this day in 1951. Born on this day in 1952, American guitarist and songwriter Brad Whitford. Brad Whitford, what band? Aerosmith. He's the guy with the blonde hair that nobody talks about. Like everybody knows Tommy Kramer, the drummer. Everybody knows Steven Tyler and Joe Perry. Brad Whitford's the other guy. He's the other guy in Aerosmith. Born on this day in 1955, Howard Jones, English singer and songwriter. Whoa, oh, 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 whoa, oh, oh, oh. That's all I know from Howard Jones. I have no update on the mime. Remember, he had a mime. It was Howard Jones would perform, and he had no band. It was just him with a huge bank of synthesizers, and he would sing and he'd play the synthesizers. And then he had a human pet. He had a dude on a chain that was chained up to one of the synthesizers, and that dude was a mime. And that dude would mime songs and dance. I don't know what was going on there, but happy birthday to you, Howard Jones. I hope at some point over the past 30, 40 years, you've let that mime free. Born on this day in 1965, another proud Texan. Look at this, Texas. We might be the third most sinful state in the entire country, but we are producing some birthdays on this day. You better believe it. Michael Dell, the 25th wealthiest man in the entire world. Michael Dell, Houston native. Now I believe he lives down there in Austin. He's worth like $60 billion. And well, look at me. I am looking at a Dell computer right now. He got some of our money. Looking it up. Michael Dell, born on this day in 1965. As I do this show into a Dell computer. Born on this day in 1969, Damon John, of course, founder of FUBU, fashion designer, and one of the sharks on Shark Tank. Niecy Nash, American actress and producer, born on this day in 1970. I love Niecy Nash. I think Niecy Nash is so funny. She does everything too now. She's like, you see her everywhere. Reno 911, was that the first? Let me see. What else is she? Every time I see Niecy Nash, I laugh. I think it would have had to have been Reno 911 was the first place that I saw her. She's done a bunch of movies. She's done a bunch of other things. Yeah. All right. I don't know. We're not gonna go off the rails celebrating Niecy Nash, but somebody should. And today's her birthday. She's so funny. Born on this day in 1976. Got a bit of a crush on this one. Actually, there's another birthday coming up that I also have a crazy crush on. Happy birthday, Kelly MacDonald, Scottish actress. I love Kelly MacDonald. I will see anything that she does. Who's Kelly MacDonald? Well, if you're my age and you have a warm spot in your heart for Train Spotting, which was such a great movie. It gave us Ewan McGregor, but it also gave us Kelly MacDonald. Kelly MacDonald, remember, she was the schoolgirl. She was the goody-goody kind of high school schoolgirl who, got really into heroin. That was the first time I ever saw Kelly MacDonald. And I was like, oh, I kind of like her. But then let's not forget, she was Mrs. Nucky Thompson on Boardwalk Empire. If you like Boardwalk Empire, she was like his maid. She was like the Irish immigrant woman maid. that he fell in love with. First, she was his mistress. Then they got married. She's awesome. Kelly McDonald is awesome. Happy birthday, Kelly McDonald. All right, now here's another one. This is a non-sexual crush. Somebody who I've got a huge amount of admiration for. One of my all-time favorite professional football players. And I swear to God, he better get into the Hall of Fame at some point. I mean, nobody has influenced this era of defensive football more than, don't say it because it's not true. I know. I'm not going to say it. It's not true. But he has had, people have influenced defensive football more than Charles Tillman. Happy birthday, Peanut Tillman. Born on this day in 1981. Long time cornerback for the Chicago Bears on some of those incredible defenses throughout the mid-'80s. He is the inventor of what we now see. This is what I say. This is why how innovative he was. He is, I don't know that he's the inventor, but he's the first guy to perfect it in every single defense in the NFL this past season for sure, because they've mentioned his name a million times. Every single defense uses the peanut punch. Everybody, fumbles, whatever. It's that move now that you see, especially from cornerbacks and safeties. When a guy is going down, the safety comes in from the outside and does that uppercut on the ball, and the ball squirts out. That was perfected by Peanut Tillman. That's why it's called the peanut punch. Peanut Tillman perfected that. He led the league like years and years and years in a row with caused fumbles, because he was the only guy back in 2006 or whatever that was doing that, or at least the only guy who was able to cause a fumble almost every time he was involved in a tackle. Also, cool thing about Peanut Tillman. Peanut Tillman retired from the NFL, one of the all-time great Chicago Bears. I mean, talk about a guy who was absolutely beloved by that fan base because of all the fumbles he caused. Just beloved. He's an FBI agent now. He retired from football and said, you know what? I want to go into law enforcement. He went back to college and he went through the FBI academy. And actually, what is he a full-blown FBI? Because that was what I remember. Let's see. Let's pull this up. Let's see this. Charles Anthony Tillman, nicknamed Peanut, is a former American football cornerback who is currently a United States Federal Bureau of Investigations agent. Yeah, how cool is that? Peanut Tillman. Peanut's an FBI. He's a Fed. He played college football at the University of Louisiana Lafayette and was drafted by the Chicago Bears in the second round of the 2003 draft. Tillman played 12 years for the Bears, helping them reach Super Bowl, and also played 1 year with the Carolina Panthers, making another Super Bowl with that team. Although he had been placed on injured reserve earlier in the season, he was selected to 2 Pro Bowls and was the Walter Payton Man of the Year in 2013. He was known for his cover skills as well as his ability to force fumbles by stripping or punching the ball away from players, with his well-timed punch of the ball commonly known to this day as the Peanut Punch. He's an FBI agent. I love that. He was such a classy guy. He was smart and cool, and you just everything about him. Okay, so he's a serious dude. Obviously, he's got to be a serious dude. He's an FBI agent. Okay, I said that there was another crush that I had here. This is another one of my big crushes. I know Kelly McDonald. I got a crush on her. But also, happy birthday, Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt, born on this day in 1983. She's the real Pam. She's Pam from The Office. She's the real Pam, because in real life she's married to Jim. The real Jim, what's his name? John Krasinski. John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. They're like such a cute Hollywood couple. I like them, but I really like Emily Blunt. Do you know where I fell in love with Emily Blunt? And it has nothing to do with seeing her, like her physical appearance or anything, which she's very cute. She's a beautiful woman. What are you doing? Why are you well, I mean, she's not Pam Anderson, she's not like she doesn't front with the I'm beautiful. She's a pretty girl. She's a very pretty girl. If you went to high school with her, she would be one of the prettiest girls in your high school, but she's not like traditionally Hollywood knockdown, drag out, smoke show hot. I fell for her. She did the voice of Juliet in the in the cartoon, or not the cartoon, but the animated picture Romeo and Juliet, which is the story of Romeo and Juliet with garden gnomes. It's about two sets of garden gnomes that live in 2 adjacent yards. It's good. It's very good. Ewan McGregor again. Talked about Ewan McGregor. He was in it. He played Romeo and she played Juliet. I don't know. Her vocalization in that was I don't know. I was like, oh my God, I got a crush on on a cartoon gnome. How is that happening? Also, want to feel old? Want to feel really old? Want to feel like, days are just numbered? Happy birthday, Dakota Fanning. What is she, 27? Well, what is that for? 6, 7, 8. Oh my God, she's 28. Dakota Fanning. Dakota Fanning is forever going to be 8 years old in my mind. It's another thing that I was thinking of. Dakota Fanning's a legit actress. Like, she is legit working as a grown-up female, adult, mature actress. Do you remember when like child stars never turned into anything? That hasn't been a thing in decades. It seems to me that a lot of child stars now, more than likely, if they hit stardom at like 10 years old, there's a pretty good chance that you're still going to see them around at 30. There's a lot more than it used to be. We used to just get done with them. Once they hit puberty, it was like, you're not cute anymore. We're done with you. And now we've got a whole bunch of, Ryan Goslings and Jason Batemans and Leonardo DiCaprios and Dakota Fanning. You know what I mean? They seem to be a lot more prevalent these days. Okay, born on this day or died on this day. Not a whole lot. I'm John Quincy Adams died on this day, but is that really worth mentioning? You just did. I know. I guess it was. Katherine Hellman died on this day in 2019. Katherine Hellman, Mona from Who's the Boss? The redhead. She was also Jessica Tate on Soap, redhead. She died, born in 2019. Katherine Hellman died on this day in 1929. And let's finish this off with what day is it? It's just going to be stupid shit. It's National Banana Bread Day. Banana bread. Dun, 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 banana bread. Dun, 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 dun. I love banana bread. My kid's gone, so I got to start my diet today. And by the way, I've decided that what my new diet is. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to deny myself shit. I'm not going to go mentally into like hating the diet. Like, I hate that I have my life. I'm in a diet. No, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to eat really better. I'm going to eat what I want. Like, I'm not going to, no carbs. I'm not low fat. I'm not going to do all that stuff. I'm going to eat smart. I'm going to eat decent, well-balanced meals. I'm not going to snack. And if I do snack, like I'm cutting out things like chips and all of that crap that I have to have here when my 12-year-old is living here. I'm going to eat carrots. I like carrots, but here's what I'm going to do. I like apples. I got apples. I can have apples. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to eat normal. I'm just going to eat like normal people food. Reasonable. I'm going to be reasonable. I'm going to be responsible. But I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to stop with this stagnant bullshit where, I live in Texas. I mean, sure, today it's in the 20s and it's going to snow and there's supposed to be rain coming. So it's going to be nasty for the next couple of days. But after that, baby, I'm going to start my running again. I sprained my ankle a couple of weeks ago. I was on this incredible running kick. I was hitting my goals every day. And I sprained my ankle. I haven't got back to running since. Ankle's been fine for a month. Haven't gotten back to running. And I want some banana bread. It's National Banana Bread Day. Banana bread. Dun, 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 dun. Banana bread. Dun, 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 dun. It's also National Dog Biscuit Day. What was I supposed to do with that? It's also National Tile Day. See what I mean? What why are you even wasting my time? I mean, I can get behind National Banana Bread Day. Dun, 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 dun. Banana bread. Dun, 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 dun. Banana bread. Dun, 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 dun. Banana bread. Dun, 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 dun. Banana bread. Okay, let's check in with Flight Tracker before we get out of here today. Let's see. Is there anything? Oh, no. You know what I like to do? Because it's been a couple hours now. Let's see if there's anything new that's trending that we need to check out. Let's see here. Okay. Yes. Fine. If you're going to pop up the Google first, then I will look at Google. Although I don't like to look at Google because Google is there's a little bit more work involved in trying to figure out what is actually trending. Okay. Greg Abbott. Apparently, someone named Tori is accused of shooting Megan Thee Stallion. Bit ostentatious. You're Megan the Stallion. No, I'm Megan Thee Stallion. Whatever. Rapper Megan Thee Stallion says certain outlets were spreading false narratives and reports about a pretrial hearing involving Tory Lanez, which was ultimately postponed. I don't know what that's about. Drake Bell is trending. He's one of them kid stars, right? There's nothing important trending. Snowfall is trending. The Amazing Jonathan is trending. Some political nonsense is trending. Kyrie Irving is trending. Tobey Maguire is trending. Jane Fonda is trending. What? Why is Jane Fonda trending when the headline should be Tom Brady to star in road trip comedy movie? In his first post-retirement move, Tom Brady will produce and star in a new road trip comedy film alongside the likes of Sally Field, Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, and Rita Moreno. What? Tom Brady's going to be an actor? I mean, I can totally see it, but can he act? If Tom Brady becomes a successful, famous actor, then it's not hard to be an actor because don't get me started on Tom Brady. Stephen King is trying. Okay, so there's nothing really big. There's nothing huge that's popping off. Let's check one more. Let's see one more. All right, that's it. We're good. Before we leave, let's check back in on the whole Ukraine situation. Let me see what's happening with Flight Tracker. You know how we like to do the Flight Tracker. We like to see what kind of planes are up in the air. All right, so right now it is 8, 9, 10. It is 10 o'clock in the evening in Kiev, in Ukraine time. So it's dark out, and let's see what we got. Let me see what we're dealing with. We'll be doing this together now because it's I haven't been keeping track of it for the last 2 hours because I've been talking to the likes of you. All right, let's see what we got. The Baltic Sea. All right, I'm in the wrong direction. There we go. Romania, Moldova. Ooh, okay. So look at this. There is like no air traffic over the Ukraine right now. There is nothing. Let's see what are people watching. Oh, we've got 2 forts. We got 2 drones up now. Okay, so Fort 1 or Fort 11. That's this guy. We were watching him before. Look at this guy. This guy is just going all over. He is looks like he's currently really working that area of eastern Ukraine that is the Donbas, which is where most people are concerned with. Earlier today, he had been going all the way up near Belarus, checking out all of this stuff. But okay, so Fort 11 is right there. Let's see who else we got. Fort 12. Look at Fort 12, new on the scene. Oh, Fort 12 is just showing up. That's probably why. Okay, so Fort 12 is showing up. I'm guessing now that the United States Air Force, Fort 12 is United States Air Force. I'm guessing that we're just going to have a drone up 24/7 now. So I would be expecting Fort 11 to be leaving, and now we'll watch for the next couple hours. We'll see what Fort 12 does. Probably gonna cover the exact same area. What is this? All right, see now anytime it's got an NA, those are interesting. So what's this guy all about? I don't know what that is. Azer Air Ukraine. All right. This is a Ukrainian airline with no stated destination. So that's interesting. That's why it's number 3 worldwide. People are like, wonder what that's about. This is what is this? This is Dubai to Kiev. People are watching that one. What's this one? Okay, so this is a plane. This is a private jet operated by Air Pink, and you just thought she was a pop star. She also operates a regional carrier in this part of the world. Air Pink. See, interesting. This is interesting. This is why it's number 5 worldwide. People are watching this now because a plane takes off from Moscow and seems to be flying directly over Kiev, which might be frowned upon given the current set of circumstances. But okay, so there you go. All right, let's see. Are any of these other? That's not nothing. That's nothing. That's Fort 12. Fort 12 is coming on the scene. Fort 11. Yeah, okay. So here, this is Fort 11. This is the one drone. See how he's pointed? I bet you he's going home. He's going home because we got this bitch showing up. Look at him. Fort 12 is now showing up. So they're just going to replay. They're going to pass each other. They're going to wave. They're not going to wave. They're drones. These are remotely controlled. These things are gigantic too. These are like here. Let me see a picture of it. Nope, no picture of it. Yeah. Northrop Grumman RQ4. Well, whatever. You can look that up. Look up an RQ-48 Global Hawk. Oh, okay. Hold on. I'll do it. RQ-48. There it is. My point is that this ain't just like one of them little helicopter drone kind of a deals. These are like the cool ass real drones. Oh, here's a good picture. Oh, there's a good one. Banana bread. Okay, so that's it. That's what Fort 11 and Fort 12 look like. Kind of looks like a dolphin head, you know? It's smooth. Ain't nobody got to sit anywhere. But they're pretty big. They're pretty big. They're not little, I guess is what I'm trying to say. All right, so I'm going to keep a look on this stuff. And that's it. I've got to do some stuff this afternoon, so I can't stick around much longer. So we're going to not go into the chat room. Although, okay, you know what? I'll take a quick look through the chat room. I'll see if there's anything that needs my attention. But I'm afraid I'm going to get late. I was trying to be out of here by 2:30. Stevie Ray Martinez says, don't want to be that guy, but I think your jacket or something is rubbing on the foam of the mic. It's quite annoying with the headphones. Sure, it's that. I think it's probably my beard. I got to trim my beard. I'm sorry. Fast Outdoor Food says, can someone explain this? How can some country, Russia, claim two cities in a different country? Those cities are independent. It's not Russia's cities or country to make that claim. That's a question that the entire Western world is asking themselves, Fast Outdoor Food. April asks, is NATO moving to help them or not? Or many lives? NATO is, well, okay. So first of all, NATO, they're not a NATO member. So NATO doesn't have to help them. They would like to be a NATO member, and they've opened up conversations about this, but we're still years away from that. So yeah, so there you go. NATO is not obligated to help the Ukraine. However, NATO goes into other situations that concern non-NATO member countries based on, peacekeeping or humanitarian. So we'll see. Like, excuse me. So one of the things that people are putting out there is how would the Western world be obligated to get involved? And the talk today is that Putin is going to try to take Kiev, that he's got troops within the area and they're all 80% ready in forward position. So what would he do? One of the things that they might do is just surround the city of Kiev and starve them out, cut off the internet, cut off all food coming in, cut out all water, and basically isolate the people of Kiev until they give in. So if there is any sort of resistance to this taking of Kiev, that's what they'll do. They can wait them out. They can starve them to death. Now, if that occurs, that's when NATO would have to go, yeah, we're not going to let you do that, because then it becomes a humanitarian issue. So I don't know. This is all very complicated. April says, I saw tweets that say Russian planes have already done recon today. Yeah. Russian planes are doing all kinds of stuff. But see, they're basically in a wartime front. They don't have their transponders up. They're not being, hey, look at me, look at me. They're being sneaky. They're doing what happens when, two tribes go to war. Adam says, I'm not saying this is on the Texas Greg Abbott with his order to let's imprison anybody who gives a 5-year-old a sex change, which is just me kind of oversimplifying it. Adam says, I'm not saying anyone who does hormone therapy to kids under 18 should be jailed or fined, but my least liberal take is that it's not in a person's best interest to do so under the age of 18. Adam, you and I agree on that. I agree completely. And it doesn't make me anti-trans. It doesn't make me, a hater or a monster. It just means that, look, I understand that people who are 15 years old are completely different people when they're 25. And they're even more different people when they're 35. And they're even completely different than that when they're 50. However, we do have a line of demarcation of 18 years old for a reason. So, oh my God. Byron and Adam seem to be getting into it. I'm not going near that. JBM, also known as Jennifer Blair Martin. I graduated high school in 1978. Within a year after graduation, 7 of my classmates committed suicide, and all of them were related to the internal struggle they were dealing with being gay. The world missed out on some really awesome people. Ain't that true? Ain't that true? Take the visual under your way. Okay. I am not getting into the fight between Byron and Adam. Oh boy, now other people are being dragged into it. Trinity Bay. We talked about the plane crash that occurred at Trinity Bay 2 years ago. Adam Reyna says, hey, Trinity Bay is where I grew up. Baytown, Texas. All right. Kevin Barber is taunting me now with the fact that he's eating banana bread. Oh my God, I'm eating banana bread at this very moment when you said that. Banana bread. Dun, 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 dun. Banana bread. I really want banana bread. But I don't think that's the best way to start my first day of eating right. I'm not saying banana bread is off the table. I'm just saying it's not optimal on my first day of trying to eat right. Although my kid left like 3 Oreo cookies left. And you better believe that I'm going to eat all 3 of those Oreo cookies. Why? Because we need to get rid of them. And I'm not going to throw them out. That would be wasteful. That would be cruel to people who are hungry. So I'm just going to bite the bullet and I'm going to eat those Oreo cookies. Oh, why don't you just give them to the dog? You can't give a dog chocolate. I've given every dog I've ever had chocolate. I've also given every dog I've ever had grapes. They won't eat grapes though. Grapes. Any dog I've ever had doesn't want any kind of vegetable. I have given every dog I've ever had chocolate when she wanted it. I had one dog, my dog Blue. I bought my son for Easter one year. He was like, 3 years old. It was when I was still here in Texas. I bought him a big, giant, solid chocolate Easter bunny. Because, I don't get the hollow shit. I get him the good stuff. I get him the good solid bunny. Blue ate that entire bunny. She got it and she ate it. Blue was a Siberian Husky Timberwolf hybrid. She ate that entire gigantic chocolate bunny. Okay, she died a couple of years later, but it's not like it killed her. She died of liver cancer. She had other things. She had to be put down but it wasn't caused by eating chocolate. And also, every dog I've ever had, I'm a big fan of buffalo wings. You don't give a dog chicken wings. Yeah, I do. I've given every dog I've ever had chicken wings. And you know why? Because every dog I've ever had has been a baller dog, has been a big, giant dog who kills routinely squirrels with their tiny little bones, birds, any bird that my dog could trap or kill. It just eats it raw. So you know what? The whole, don't give a dog chicken wings, it could die. Maybe your tiny little stupid Pomeranian, maybe something like that. Did I mention that my dog was part wolf? You're telling me that wolves out in the wild don't stop it. I eat my chicken wings. I would eat my big plate of chicken wings for Blue, and I would throw it, and she would just jump up in the air and eat the whole thing. Well, you said she died of liver cancer. Maybe that's why. My dog's life expectancy was 8 to 10 years. That is what my breed, especially with the hybrid nature of her, 8 to 10 years, they said. They said, don't expect to get it. If you get 10 years, you're living on house money. My dog lived 14. She was 14. She was super old. When I took her to be put down, they were like, wow, she has really lived a long life. I go, yeah. She's like, you never see these dogs get this old. I go, I know, because I fed her chocolate and chicken bones. And also a steady diet of Tylenol PM. You can't give dogs Tylenol PM. My hyper insane dog would get half a Tylenol PM every single day, and she lived 14 years. Now, I am not suggesting that you do all of these things with your dogs. I am just telling you that sometimes people say shit about how you're supposed to treat your dogs, and they're just saying it to say shit because they heard it on, I don't know, Ellen or something. And again, if your dog is a big giant baller dog that kills things regularly and then eats them, they're getting, if your concern is small animal bones, CeeLo. CeeLo kills at least 2 or 3 birds a week. She got a nest. She found a bird. Oh my God. There are bird feathers all over the yard and everything else is gone. She just chews them all up. You're telling me that like a tiny little bluebird bone is somehow safe, but a big honking piece of chicken isn't? It's fine. They're animals. Stop it. I'm not even looking at the chat room. Because I know that there are people out there going, your dog's gonna die. No, not been my experience. Been doing it. This is a tried and true practice. This has been something I've done my entire life. And yeah, I hear people say, you don't give a dog chocolate. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I have given dogs chocolate regularly with no concern. And guess what? Those dogs have all been fine. And they've been appreciative. With that said, I'm not going to give the Oreo cookies to the dog because it could die. See, in this case, I'm being selective. In this case, I'm not going to give the dog that chocolate because it could die. And I also want it for myself. Can't throw them out. I'm not going to throw them out. Oh, boy. These are old stories. All right, that's going to be it. Wait, is there more? Hold on. But yeah, that's about it. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining me today. We'll be back tonight at 9:00, me and Parker, for the Pillow Talk edition. That's a little bit more conversational, a little bit more whatever. You know, we talk. We do conversation. It's a little bit sillier. I don't know what we're going to do tonight. I never know at the end of this show what we're going to do on the nighttime show, but I hope you can join us. That's every night, Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. This show, the High Noon Show, the Topic Show. This one airs every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. Look, today it's 2:30. So we went to 2:30 today. So that's there you go. I promise you at least 2 hours, and we'll, oh my God, I got to turn this up. If you're so inclined, the show does accept your generous tips and donations to help us keep doing the show. You can find that information right there. Cash App, Venmo, whatever it is you want to do. If you can help us, we appreciate it. Thanks to one of my favorite people named Leslie. I got a lot of stuff to choose from. I got a lot of goodies to choose from. Leslie sent me like a whole bunch. Leslie's a friend. Leslie sent me a whole bunch of like bulk food. I'm like, all right, I'll take it. Whatever. That's fine. Let's not make that a habit, folks. I mean, I'd rather take the donations in cash form, but Leslie's awesome. Thank you so much. What else? Oh, yeah. I don't know if Leslie's still with us. The people came back. I got all my stuff this morning. So thank you so much. Leslie sent me like some awesome stuff. And now I'm going to have some ravioli for lunch and 3 Oreo cookies. And then I'm not going to run today because it's icy out there and I'm old and I could break a hip. You're off to a fabulous start on this whole new dedication to fitness. Hey man, jet ski season is going to be up on us way quicker than I anticipate. I got to drop 30 pounds. I got to drop 30 pounds in like 20 days. Can I do it? Probably not. There's no way I can do it. All right. It's not 30 days. I got like 3 months. I could lose 10 pounds a month. Right? I can lose 10 pounds a month. I don't want to be, look, I'm never going to have abs, but I want to be able to fit into my, God, I gained like 20 pounds in the last 6 months. It's terrible. Ugh. Yeah, you know what? You don't need to hear my problems. You don't need to hear my problems. That's not what you tune in for. Actually, judging by your history, that is probably what they're tuning in for. Still want banana bread, but I can't spend money on such frivolity. From the comfort nest, I am on a never end. Okay, bye everybody. Thanks, appreciate you. We'll see you tonight at 9 with Pugs and Parker. I am on a never-ending quest.